But before we get into the fun stuff, I first want to go over how the LiftStick actually works. The elastic resistance bands create tension when the device is pulled apart. This creates an isometric hold that instantly engages the most important and hard to hit muscles. This tension allows you to do different body weight exercises like pulling, pushing, curls, rows, and more. You can increase the difficulty by adding additional resistance bands to your LiftStick. Now that you've learned how the LiftStick works, I first want to share some tips on proper form so that you can maximize your exercises. All right, tip number 1. You should stand upright with an aligned head, neck, and spine. Tip number 2, keep a strong grip on your LiftStick, engaging the entire upper body, including your core, glutes, and back. Pretend you're sucking it all in, right? So even though it does target the upper body, you still get to engage other parts of your body. Tip number 3, drop your shoulders back and make sure to tuck your elbows in. Don't let those elbows flare like this, all right? We're not flying, it's not a chicken wing. Those elbows tucked to your side by your ribs. Tip number 4, when you're pulling the LiftStick apart, make sure that the sticks and the resistance bands are parallel. So you don't want it to look like this, you don't want to look like this. Try to keep it nice and even, and again, you'll feel the difference. Keeping them parallel also ensures that your resistance bands won't pop off or break. So this is really important. And if your resistance bands do break or pop off, it's probably a sign that your sticks are uneven. So it's always a good idea to go back to your form. I also want to share that the bands do wear over time. So as you're using your LiftStick and you notice the bands start to get weaker, then it's time to get some new bands. Tip number 5, keep the resistance consistent throughout the rep. So for instance, if you're holding it this far apart in the beginning of your rep, you want to make sure you keep that same resistance from start to finish. That's going to make sure that you're getting the full range of the exercise. So don't start strong like this, and then as you push out, get smaller. You want to keep that same distance consistent. And tip number 6, riding off of tip number 5, you want to make sure that you complete the full range of motion. You'll be tempted to want to slack off towards the end or maybe in the middle of the motion, but please challenge yourself to keep it consistent because that's how you're going to see those results. Now, the key to seeing results with the LiftStick is pulling it as far apart as you can, right? Getting that tension, keeping those elbows down. And you want to kind of actively push and pull. So while you're going through the physics of the motion, you really want to kind of pull against the action, and that's really where you're going to feel it. Now that you have your tips, let's get to the fun part, those exercises.